Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jim. Tonight, tomorrow, we're going to be doing a review for a movie called Night at Terrance Lanes. It's a 2024 film, 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's a comedy horror thriller. And yeah, comedy horror. Always hit or miss with me. When a bloodthirsty cult invades a bowling alley on its final night of operation, a high schooler on a date from hell must join forces with her survivalist dad to fend off the crazed murderers. Directed by Jamie Nash, written by Adam Cesare and Jenna St. John, starring the dad, the survivalist dad. Ken Arnold plays Bruce, and his daughter is played by Francesca Capaldi as Kennedy. She seems more familiar than she is. She has a very small IMDb credit list, but she definitely looks familiar. And Tess is played by Mia Ray Roberts. Those are the two girls that are headed to the bowling alley. What we don't know, though, is Kennedy is the daughter of Bruce, who works at the bowling alley. And Tess and two other friends that meet up with them, they don't know that. And we have this bizarre cult thing going on. We're shown like footage of a live feed from the cult, and we're kind of exposed to the overall big plan of how they're very close to a certain event happening if they can get all their ducks in a row, and they finally find out where the spot is where they need to be for this event to take place, and it happens to be the Lane Terrace Lane bowling alleys. So we have this cringy date teen thing going on. Lots of bowling action. If you're a bowling fan, there's all sorts of bowling going on. It's a big bowling alley, and it seemed very busy. I guess a lot of the town must have been so upset that there was only one night left to go bowling in the town that they all went bowling. So it was a pretty big crowd. And then the cult starts kind of popping in through the background, and they're all wearing very identifiable, like turquoise tracksuits. So you know right away who's a cult member and who isn't as the viewer of the movie. So that they don't do a very good job of hiding like who could be one of the cult members, because it's very clear. There is just a lot of cringiness. Things amp up when it becomes close to time for the cultists start doing their things, and it's just a lot of weird tropey stuff. There's a few good kills in it. The comedy definitely wasn't hitting for me. The characters weren't hitting for me. The cult members especially were not hitting for me. Very low grade costuming design, which is okay, because I imagine when you're dealing with a low budget and you have to dress a full cult, and there was a lot of cult members. I was kind of like, how did so many cult members get into this bowling alley? And it not put up red flags to the people working, but whatever, I digress. The masks are just plain white plastic masks, very cheap, easy to get at any of your year-round costume shops. Just that blank white with the eye holes. And but there are some fun kills. Just overall, it was a little bit too over the top. There's a lot of cat and mouse in this that doesn't seem very realistic, because it's a bowling alley. And I've had a friend that's worked at a bowling alley. He used to do live streams from the back of the inside behind the lanes, and where he would fix the pin machine and things like that. So I kind of have a sense of how tight of a space that is. There was one funny first kill. I'll spoil it. It's a guy dressed in a pin costume. I guess he was the bowling alley mascot, and he is in that costume. He also has the only sex scene with one of the other bowling alley workers, and it's kind of a fun moment in the movie, a little out of place maybe, but it's kind of a fun moment. They kind of justify it by saying, well, it's the last night we're going to ever have the chance to do this kind of a thing. So it works. And then we get the bowling pin mascot reappearing later on in the film. And there's a little bit of comedy there that worked for me. But for the most part, there was a lot of campiness. The cult leader was just not good, very unrealistic. There's a pretty funny last scene that worked for me, which is when the time came for the cults to all complete their mission, like at midnight or whatever. The transformation, the time of transformation was upon them. All of their watches alerted them to that being the time. And so, what large cults do when large cults do stuff, I'm not going to spoil it, but I think you can put it together. And the dad and daughter dynamic is one of those angsty teens, doesn't want to be known as the daughter of the bowling alley maintenance guy because it's embarrassing. So their relationship is a little stressed at the beginning, and then the situation happens, and then they have to come together and work as a team. And the dad is described as like the survivalist, but he was really, really overly campy. They did a big disservice to this guy's character. The actor Ken Arnold played it well, I guess, but he was given some just crappy things to have to do. It just was really dumb. Just wasn't working out for me. They had a scene that established the cell phones had been hacked by the cult group, which again, very unrealistic, but it's a problem that a lot of current day horror films have to do. You're almost guaranteed to be given a quick scene in any current horror movie why somebody's cell phone doesn't work. Either at the beginning of the movie, everybody has to give their cell phones into a bucket or something because it's a party and there's going to be no cell phones, so there's no video footage of the party, or we're in such a remote location that there's no cell phone service, or a cell phone tower gets struck by lightning, so the tower is down and there's no service for the length of the film. So yeah, I've watched so many movies over the past 2 years where that is like a normal thing now, that you have to invest time into adding to your movie, is how to get the workaround. Like, well, why didn't they just call the police on their cell phones? Well, the cell phones had been hacked, so they couldn't do that. And I find that to be a funny, tragic thing that a lot of movies have to go through. Overall, it's a horror comedy, so you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. You're not getting a real true horror slasher. There's some good kills. There are slasher elements. There is a few attempts at some suspenseful scenes. But overall, for me personally, this movie just didn't hit. I'm not a big fan of horror comedies to begin with, so um, I was kind of already going in with the deck stacked against me because this did try to rely on that comedy slash dark comedy. But then there's just the ridiculous campiness. And it's the campiness sometimes that if it's not working right, it just kills the whole vibe of the movie. And that unfortunately is what happened with this between the cult leader and the dad. Both of them were given like really campiness. And it's just too bad because if they had maybe dialed that back a little bit, it might have been a better movie for me. But yeah, I can't remember. I think I saw this on Amazon as well. I've been really on this Amazon binge. I don't think I saw it on Tubi, or I would have written that down because Tubi is a fan favorite of everybody's. So, anyways, if you do take a chance on Last Night at Terrace Lanes, let me know in the comments down below. And otherwise, I don't not recommend it, but it's definitely not one of my strong recommendations. It's a quick movie, only an hour and 15 minutes, so at least it has that going for it. But that's going to do it. Have a great day, everybody. Keep coming back to the channel for more great stuff.
Row 18, plot 20.